Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the ESS Horizon, watching the stars through the main screen. The ship was huge, bigger than any vessel Earth had ever built. 800 people lived and worked inside its metal walls. They were the best of the best, chosen for this mission to explore the far reaches of space. "Captain," called Dr. Lisa Kane from her science station, "I'm picking up something strange out there." Jake walked over to her console. Lisa was the smartest person he knew, a woman who could solve problems that made other scientists give up. If she said something was strange, he listened. "What do you see?" Jake asked. Lisa pointed at her screen. "Energy readings, sir, but they don't match anything in our databases. The patterns are too regular to be natural." Commander Ryan Blake, Jake's second-in-command, joined them. Ryan was a soldier first, but he had learned to trust the science team. Could it be another ship? "No," Lisa said, shaking her head. "It's bigger than that. Much bigger. And the energy signature is unlike anything we've ever seen." Jake studied the readings. The Horizon had been traveling for 3 months, mapping new star systems and looking for planets humans could live on. This was supposed to be routine work, but nothing about these readings looked routine. "How far away is it?" Jake asked. 2 days at current speed," said engineer Maya Rodriguez from across the bridge. Maya knew the ship's engines better than anyone. She could make the Horizon go faster or slower with just a few button presses. "Sir?" said Lieutenant Alex Carter from the communications station. "I'm not picking up any radio signals from that direction. Whatever it is, it's not trying to talk to us." Jake thought for a moment. Earth Command had given him clear orders: explore, map, and report back. But they had also told him to investigate anything unusual. This definitely counted as unusual. "Change course," Jake decided. "Head toward those energy readings." "Sir?" Ryan asked. "Are you sure? We don't know what's out there." "That's exactly why we need to check it out," Jake replied. "If there's something new in space, Earth needs to know about it." The Horizon turned toward the mysterious energy source. For 2 days, they traveled through the darkness between stars. The energy readings got stronger as they got closer. Lisa worked day and night, trying to understand what they were seeing. "Captain," she said on the second day, "I think it's some kind of structure. Artificial, definitely not natural." "A space station?" Jake asked. "Bigger than that. Much bigger. It's like nothing we've ever built." Jake felt a chill run down his spine. Humans had been traveling through space for over 100 years. They had found planets, asteroids, and gas clouds. But they had never found any sign of other intelligent life. If this was artificial, it meant humans were not alone in the universe. "Red alert," Jake ordered. "All hands to stations." The bridge lights changed from white to red. Throughout the ship, 800 people prepared for whatever was coming. The Horizon's weapons powered up, though Jake hoped they wouldn't need them. "Visual contact," Alex announced. The main screen changed to show what lay ahead. Jake's breath caught in his throat. In the distance, hanging in space like a giant jewel, was a structure that defied description. It was geometric, made of perfect angles and smooth surfaces that seemed to bend light around them. It was enormous, easily 10 times larger than the biggest space station Earth had ever built. "My God," Ryan whispered. "It's beautiful," Maya said, her voice full of wonder. Lisa was busy at her station, taking readings as fast as she could. "Captain, the energy output is incredible. Whatever powers that thing, it's beyond our technology. Any signs of life?" Jake asked. "I'm detecting movement inside the structure," Lisa reported, "but I can't tell if it's machines or living beings." Jake made a decision that would change everything. "Take us closer, but slowly, and keep our weapons ready." The Horizon moved toward the alien structure. As they got closer, Jake could see that it was even more amazing than it first appeared. The surfaces seemed to shift and change, like water flowing over invisible barriers. Lights pulsed in patterns that almost looked like writing. "Captain," Alex said, his voice tight with fear, "something's happening." The structure was responding to their presence. Parts of it were opening, revealing chambers inside that glowed with soft light. It was like the thing was inviting them in. "Sir," Ryan said, "this could be a trap." Jake knew Ryan was right, but he also knew that this was the most important discovery in human history. If there were other intelligent beings in the universe, first contact would change everything. "Maya, can you keep us ready to run if we need to?" "Yes, sir. Engines are hot and ready." "Lisa, keep scanning. I want to know everything about that structure." "Already on it, Captain." Jake took a deep breath. "Take us in, nice and slow." The horizon moved forward, heading into the unknown. Jake watched the alien structure grow larger on the screen. Whatever was about to happen, there was no turning back now. The last message Earth would receive from the horizon was short and simple. "Entering unknown structure. Will report back soon." Then the ship disappeared into the geometric maze, and space fell silent once again. 10 years had passed since the ESS Horizon vanished without a trace. Earth had mourned the loss of Captain Jake Morrison and his crew, but life went on. Humans continued to explore space, though more carefully now. They built colonies on 12 different worlds and thought they were doing well. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood in the command center on Mars Station, looking at reports from the outer colonies. She was a tough woman who had worked her way up through the ranks. The loss of the horizon had taught everyone to be more careful, and Kate made sure the rules were followed. "Admiral," called General Chris Wagner from across the room. Chris led the colonial marines, the soldiers who protected human settlements. He was a big man with scars from old battles, though those battles had been against pirates and rebels, not aliens. "What is it, Chris?" Kate asked. "We're getting strange reports from the Kepler colony. Ships appearing at the edge of their system, then disappearing again." Kate frowned. "Pirates? That's what we thought at first. But these ships are bigger than anything pirates could get their hands on." Dr. Ben Foster looked up from his research station. Ben studied alien life, though until now that had meant mostly bacteria and simple plants. He was a quiet man who preferred books to people, but he was the best at what he did. "Could they be human ships we don't know about?" Ben asked. "Maybe a secret military project?" Kate shook her head. "I would know about any secret projects. And these ships don't match anything in our files." Captain Nina Ross entered the command center. Nina was one of their best pilots, fast and smart in a fight. She had just returned from patrol duty near the outer colonies. "Admiral," Nina said, "I need to report something. 3 days ago, my squadron encountered an unknown vessel near the Tau Ceti system." Kate turned to face her. "Go on." "It was like nothing I've ever seen. Smooth hull, no visible weapons, but it moved faster than anything we have. When we tried to make contact, it just disappeared." "Disappeared how?" Chris asked. "Like it folded space around itself. 1 second it was there, the next second it was gone." Kate felt a cold fear growing in her stomach. "Did you get any sensor readings?" "Yes, ma'am, but they don't make sense. The energy output was enormous, but there was no heat signature. And the hull material doesn't match anything in our databases." Dr. Foster stood up suddenly. "Admiral, I think we need to consider the possibility that these are not human ships." The room fell silent. For over a century, humans had searched for signs of alien life. They had found bacteria on a few worlds, but nothing intelligent. The idea that aliens might find them first was terrifying. "Ben," Kate said carefully, "what are you thinking?" "The reports are too consistent to ignore." Ships with unknown technology, appearing and disappearing at will. If they're not human, then we're dealing with a species far more advanced than us. Before anyone could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the station. A voice came over. The speakers. All personnel to battle stations. Unknown vessels approaching Mars. Kate ran to the main display screen. What she saw made her blood freeze. Dozens of ships were emerging from empty space, appearing as if they had materialized from nothing. The ships were sleek and deadly looking, with curves that seemed to flow. Like water. Communications, Kate barked. Are they trying to talk to us? No response to our signals, Admiral, came the reply. Weapons status? All defense platforms are online and ready. Kate watched as more ships appeared. 50, then 100, then 200. Each one was larger than Earth's biggest warships. They moved in perfect formation, like they were controlled by a single mind. Then one ship, larger than all the others, moved forward. A voice filled the command center, speaking in perfect English, but with strange harmonics that made everyone's skin crawl. Humans of the planet you call Earth, the voice said. I am War Prime Zethkal of the Kethver Empire. Your species has been observed and judged. Kate stepped forward. This is Admiral Kate Sullivan of the Earth Defense Force. You have entered our system without permission. State your intentions. The alien's laugh was like metal scraping against stone. Your permission is not required, primitive one. We are the Kethver, rulers of 7 star systems and conquerors of 16 species. You will surrender now, or be destroyed. We don't surrender to anyone, Kate said, trying to keep her voice steady. Foolish. Observe the fate of those who resist. U.S. One of the smaller alien ships fired a single beam of light at an asteroid floating nearby. The asteroid, which was the size of a small mountain, simply ceased to exist. It didn't explode or break apart. It was there one moment and gone the next. Your weapons cannot harm our ships, War Prime Zethkal continued. Your fastest vessels are slower than our supply transports. Your technology is that of children playing with toys. Kate looked at the tactical display. Earth's entire defense fleet was gathering, but even combined, they had maybe 300 ships. The aliens had brought over 1,000, and each one was clearly superior to anything humans had built. You have one of your solar cycles to consider surrender, the alien said. All human worlds will submit to Kethver rule. Your species will serve us as workers and soldiers. Those who resist will be eliminated. And if we refuse, Kate asked, though she already knew the answer, then we will demonstrate why 16 other species chose to serve rather than face extinction. Your cities will burn, your ships will be destroyed, and your people will learn what happens to those who defy the Kethver Empire. The transmission ended. The alien fleet remained in space around Mars, a constant reminder of the threat they posed. Kate looked around the command center at her people. They were scared, but they were also angry. Humans had never backed down from a fight, even when the odds were impossible. Chris, she said, start mobilizing every ship we have. Send word to all the colonies. Tell them to prepare for war. Admiral, Dr. Foster said quietly, we can't win this fight. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours. Kate nodded grimly. Maybe not, but we're human. We don't give up, even when we should. And maybe, just maybe, we'll find a way. But deep down, Kate knew that Dr. Foster was right. Humanity was facing its first real test against an alien species, and they were hopelessly outmatched. The next few days would determine whether humans would remain free or become slaves to an alien. Empire. The countdown to war had begun. The Kethver fleet moved toward Earth like a storm of death. Admiral Kate Sullivan watched from the bridge of the ESS Defender as over 1,000 alien ships approached the home system. Earth's defense fleet looked pitiful by comparison. Barely. 300 vessels against an enemy that had already proven their weapons could erase matter itself. All ships maintain formation, Kate commanded into her radio. Remember, we're not trying to win this fight. We're trying to buy time for the evacuation ships. General Chris Wagner stood beside her, his face grim. How much time do you think we can give them? Maybe an hour, Kate replied honestly. Maybe less. Dr. Ben Foster was at his station, still trying to understand the alien technology they faced. Captain Nina Ross waited in her fighter, ready to launch with the first wave of defenders. Everyone knew this was likely a suicide mission, but no one was backing down. Admiral, the communications officer called out, the alien commander is broadcasting again. War Prime Zethkal's voice filled the bridge. Humans, this is your final chance. Surrender now, and some of your species will be allowed to live as our servants. Continue this foolishness, and we will destroy every human world. Kate picked up the radio. This is Admiral Sullivan. Our answer remains the same. We will not surrender. Then, you will all die, the alien replied. The Kethver ships began charging their weapons. Energy readings spiked across Kate's instruments. In moments, the battle would begin, and humanity would face extinction. Then something impossible happened. Space itself seemed to tear open behind the human fleet. A rift appeared, like a crack in reality, and through it came a ship that made Kate's heart stop beating. It was the ESS Horizon. But it wasn't the same ship that had vanished 10 years ago. The horizon that emerged from the dimensional tier was 3 times larger than before. Its hull gleamed with a metal that seemed to bend light around it. Strange geometric patterns pulsed with energy across its surface. It moved without using visible engines, gliding through space like it was swimming through water. Impossible, Dr. Foster whispered. The alien fleet noticed the new arrival. War Prime Zethkal's voice crackled over the radio, but now there was uncertainty in his tone. What is this? That vessel does not match our records of human technology. Kate tried to contact the mysterious ship. Unknown vessel, this is Admiral Sullivan of the Earth Defense Force. Please identify yourself. The response came immediately, and Kate nearly fell to her knees when she heard the voice. Admiral Sullivan, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the ESS Horizon. Sorry we're late. Jake? Kate whispered. She had known Jake Morrison before he disappeared. He had been her friend, her mentor, and one of the finest captains in the fleet. That's impossible, Chris said. The Horizon was destroyed 10 years ago. Admiral, Jake's voice came through the speakers, but it sounded different now. There were harmonics in it, layers of sound that shouldn't be possible from a human throat. We need to talk, but first we have some uninvited guests to deal with. The Kethver fleet had recovered from their surprise and were moving to attack the Horizon. War Prime Zethkal broadcast on all frequencies. Unknown vessel, you will surrender immediately or be destroyed. Jake's response was calm and confident. War Prime Zethkal of the Kethver Empire. You have threatened our people and our worlds. This ends now. You dare challenge us with a single ship? The alien leader snarled. We are the Kethver. We have conquered 16 species. 17, Jake corrected. But your conquering days are over. The largest Kethver ship fired its planet-killer weapon at the Horizon. The beam that could erase asteroids struck the human vessel directly. Kate watched in horror, expecting to see her old friend die again. Instead, the energy beam simply bent around the horizon like water flowing around a rock. The ship wasn't even scratched. How is that possible? Dr. Foster asked. Before anyone could answer, the horizon began to change. Parts of its hull shifted and flowed like liquid metal. New sections appeared that hadn't been there moments before. It was like watching the ship rebuild itself in real time. "All human ships, stand." "Back," Jake commanded. "We'll handle this." Kate wanted to argue, but something in Jake's voice made her obey. "All ships, withdraw to minimum safe distance." The Kefir fleet, all 1,000 ships, opened fire at once. Energy beams, particle weapons, and fusion missiles struck the horizon. From every direction, the space around the ship lit up like a star-going supernova. When the light faded, the horizon hung in space, completely undamaged. "Our turn," Jake said simply. What happened next defied everything Kate knew about physics and warfare. The horizon didn't fire conventional weapons. Instead, it seemed to reach out with invisible hands and simply touch the alien ship's dot where it touched them. The Kefir vessels stopped working. Their weapons went silent, their engines died, their shields failed. It was like the horizon was turning off switches in their systems, but from impossible distances. Impossible. War Prime Zethkal's voice was filled with fear now. "What are you?" "We are what we always were," Jake replied. "Human, but we've learned a few things while we were away." More Kefir ships tried to flee, but they found they couldn't. Something was holding them in place, keeping them from escaping. One by one, their ships went dark as the horizon systematically disabled their entire fleet dot in less than 10 minutes. Over 1,000 alien warships hung powerless in space. Not one had been destroyed, but all were helpless. War Prime Zethkal's voice came through the speakers one last time, no longer arrogant, but terrified. "What do you want from us?" Jake's response was calm and measured. "We want you to go home. Tell your people that Earth and all human worlds are under our protection now. Tell them that the age of conquest is over." You could have destroyed us," the alien leader said, confusion clear in his voice. "Yes," Jake agreed. "But we chose not to. Think about what that means." Kate stared at the scene before her. A single human ship had just defeated the most powerful fleet in known space without firing a shot or killing a single enemy. Whatever had happened to Jake Morrison and his crew during their 10 years away, they had returned as something beyond. Human understanding got the horizon turned toward Earth, and Jake's voice filled the radio once more. "Admiral Sullivan, request permission to come aboard the Defender. We have a lot to discuss." "Permission granted," Kate replied, though her voice shook with emotion. As she watched the transformed horizon approach, Kate realized that everything had just changed. Humanity was no longer the weak species struggling to survive in a hostile galaxy. They had become something else, something powerful enough to make their enemies surrender with mercy rather than force. The question now was, what would they do with that power? Admiral Kate Sullivan waited in the docking bay of the ESS Defender, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and hope. The shuttle from the transformed horizon was approaching, carrying Jake Morrison and his crew back from whatever impossible journey they had taken 10 years ago. When the shuttle doors opened, Kate barely recognized the people who stepped out. They looked human, but something was different. Jake Morrison moved with a confidence that seemed to bend the air around him. Dr. Lisa Kane's eyes held depths of knowledge that made Kate feel like a child. Commander Ryan Blake walked with perfect balance, as if he could feel every vibration in the ship's hull. Engineer Maya Rodriguez touched the wall of the docking bay, and Kate could swear she saw sparks dance between her fingers. "Lieutenant Alex." Carter said nothing, but Kate heard his voice in her mind anyway. "Don't be afraid. We're still us." "Jake," Kate said, stepping forward. "Is it really you?" Jake smiled, and for a moment he looked exactly like the man she remembered. "It's me, Kate, though I've learned a few things since we last talked." General Chris Wagner and Dr. Ben Foster joined them in the docking bay. Both men stared at the returned crew with open amazement. How is this possible? Ben asked. You disappeared 10 years ago. We searched for months, but found nothing. Lisa Kane spoke, her voice carrying harmonics that made the air itself seem to listen. We found something. Dr. Foster. Or rather, something found us. We encountered a species called the Architects. Architects? Kate asked. Beings who transcended physical existence millions of years ago, Jake explained. They left tests throughout the galaxy, waiting for species that could balance power with wisdom. Ryan Blake stepped forward. We spent 10 years learning from them, undergoing trials that pushed us beyond what we thought possible. We learned to merge human intuition with technology that exists beyond normal physics. Maya Rodriguez placed her hand on the wall again, and this time Kate definitely saw energy flow between her fingers and the metal. We can interface directly with any technology now. Machines respond to our thoughts as if they were extensions of our own bodies. But you're still human? Chris asked, his soldier's instincts making him wary. More human than we were before. Alex Carter said, speaking aloud this time. The Architects didn't change what we are. They just helped us become what we could be. Kate wanted to ask 1,000 questions, but alarms began sounding throughout the ship. The communications officers. Voice came over the speakers. Admiral, the Cathver fleet is making another move. Everyone rushed to the bridge. On the main screen, they could see War Prime Zethkal's flagship powering up its weapons again. The alien leader's voice filled the bridge, full of rage and desperation. Humans, you have used some trick to disable our ships, but the Kethfer Empire does not surrender. We have reserve fleets, backup forces. Even if you destroy us, more will come. Jake stepped forward calmly. He's scared. Fear makes beings do stupid things. Can you stop him again? Kate asked. We could, Lisa said, but I think it's time for a proper demonstration. The galaxy needs to understand what humanity has become. Jake nodded. With your permission, Admiral, we'd like to show War Prime Zethkal exactly why the age of conquest is over. Kate looked at her old friend, seeing the quiet confidence in his eyes. Do it? The crew of the Horizon didn't need to return to their ship. Instead, he simply stood on the bridge of the Defender and began to work with technology that existed beyond normal understanding. Maya raised her hands, and every screen on the bridge lit up with energy readings that defied explanation. Initiating phase variance, she said calmly. The Defender itself began to change. Its hull became translucent and transparent, then something beyond either. The ship existed in normal space, but also somewhere else, somewhere deeper. Ryan Blake, concentrated, and a barrier of pure energy formed around the entire human fleet. When the Kethfer ships fired their weapons, the energy blasts struck the barrier and simply stopped, frozen in place like insects in amber. Impossible, War Prime. Zethkal's voice cracked with fear. What are you doing? Lisa Kane closed her eyes and touched the air in front of her, demonstrating the difference between conquest and transcendence. Space around the Kethfer flagship began to twist and bend. Time flowed differently there, moving faster and slower in waves. The alien crew aged years and seconds, then returned to normal, then aged again. They weren't being hurt, but they were experiencing the full weight of time itself. Alex Carter reached out with his mind across impossible distances. Suddenly, every Kethfer ship in the fleet found their communication systems connected to his thoughts. He spoke directly into their minds, his words carrying the weight of absolute certainty. War Prime Zethkal, you have ruled through fear and violence for too long. Today you learn what real power looks like. Jake Morrison stepped forward and did something that made Kate's breath catch. He reached out with one hand, and space itself responded. The entire Kethver fleet, over 1,000 massive warships, began to move. Not under their own power, but because Jake was gently pushing them through dimensions that humans had no names for. The alien ships found themselves arranged in a perfect spiral pattern, each vessel held in place by forces they couldn't understand or resist. They were completely helpless, but also completely unharmed. "This is how the architects taught us to use power," Jake said, his voice carrying to every ship in both fleets. "Not to destroy, but to demonstrate. Not to kill, but to teach." War Prime Zethkal's voice came through the speakers, no longer angry, but filled with something Kate had never heard from a Kethver before. Wonder. How are you doing this?" Lisa answered, her voice gentle but firm. "We learned to see beyond the physical universe, to touch the deeper currents that connect all things. Matter and energy are just the surface. Beneath them lie forces that can reshape reality itself." "But you could have destroyed us," the alien leader said, confusion clear in his words. "Yes," Jake agreed, "easily. The architects gave us power that could crack planets or snuff out stars. But they also taught us that true strength comes from choosing not to use that power for destruction." Maya gestured, and the Kethver ships began to glow with soft, healing light. Damage from years of warfare was repaired. Sick crew members found themselves healthy. Broken spirits felt hope for the first time in decades. "We offer you a choice," Ryan said. "Return to your empire and tell them what you've seen here. Tell them that humanity doesn't rule through fear or conquest. We protect those who need protection and guide those who want to learn." "Or," Alex added, his mental voice reaching every alien mind, "you can stay and learn from us. The trials that changed us are open to any species wise enough to attempt them." War Prime Zethkal was silent for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was different, humbled in a way that Kate would never have thought possible from a Kethver. "Great ones," he said, using a term of respect Kate had never heard from an alien before. "The Kethver Empire offers its service to humanity. We have conquered through strength, but you have conquered through wisdom. We would learn from you, if you will have us." Jake looked around the bridge at his friends, both old and new. "The galaxy is about to change, Kate. Species that have fought for millennia will learn to work together. The strong will protect the weak instead of enslaving them. And humanity will guide them all towards something better than anyone thought possible." Kate stared at the transformed crew of the Horizon, understanding finally hitting her. They hadn't just gained incredible power during their 10 years away. They had gained the wisdom to use that power correctly. And that, more than any weapon or technology, was what would reshape the galaxy. The age of conquest was indeed over. The age of transcendence had begun. 3 months after the impossible return of the S-Horizon, the galaxy had changed in ways no one could have imagined. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood in the newly built Unity station, orbiting Earth, watching as ships from dozens of different species arrived to meet with humanity's transformed representatives. War Prime Zethkal, who now insisted on being called simply Zethkal, had become humanity's first alien ambassador. The former conqueror walked beside Kate through the station's corridors, his attitude completely different from the arrogant warrior who had once threatened to destroy Earth. "Admiral Sullivan," Zethkal said in his deep, rumbling voice, "my people still struggle to understand what happened to us. For generations, we believed that power meant the ability to destroy. Your Captain Morrison showed us that true power means the ability to choose not to destroy." Kate nodded, still amazed by the change in the alien leader. Jake always was good at teaching lessons, though I never expected him to teach them to an entire galactic empire. They entered the main conference room, where representatives from 17 different species had gathered. The Kethver Empire had sent delegations from all 7 of their member species. Word of humanity's demonstration had spread quickly, and now everyone wanted to understand what humans had become. Captain Jake Morrison stood at the head of the table, looking very much like the man Kate remembered, except for his eyes. His eyes held depths that seemed to contain entire universes. Beside him, Dr. Lisa Kane was explaining something to a group of alien scientists, her words causing several of them to make excited sounds in their native languages. The energy patterns you're detecting, Lisa was saying, exist in dimensions beyond normal space-time. Think of reality as having layers, like an onion. Most species only see the outer layer. We've learned to see all the layers at once. Commander Ryan Blake was working with a team of former Kethver warriors, teaching them new ways to think about conflict resolution. Engineer Maya Rodriguez had connected herself to the station's main computer and was making improvements to its systems just by thinking about them. Lieutenant Alex Carter was having a conversation with 6 different species at once, each in their own language, without moving his lips. "Admiral," Jake said, walking over to Kate and Zethkal, "we need to talk about the next phase." Kate raised an eyebrow. "Next phase?" "The architects left more than just the one test we found," Jake explained. "There are others scattered throughout the galaxy, waiting for species ready to attempt them. We need to help others find and complete these trials." Dr. Ben Foster, who had been studying the transformed humans for months, looked up from his notes. "Jake, what exactly are these trials? What do they do to people?" Lisa answered for him. "They don't change what you are, Dr. Foster. They reveal what you could become. Every species has the potential for transcendence, but most never push themselves to achieve it. The trials test different aspects of consciousness," Ryan added. "Wisdom, compassion, strength, creativity, and the ability to work together toward a common goal." Maya nodded. "The architects learned that species who pass the trials can be trusted with technologies that reshape reality itself. Those who fail either destroy themselves or learn to be content with lesser power." General Chris Wagner, who had been quietly listening, finally spoke up. "What about Earth? What about the humans who weren't on the horizon?" Alex Carter smiled. "That's the beautiful part, General. The knowledge we gained can be shared, but only with those who are ready for it. The trials aren't just tests of ability. They're tests of character." Jake gestured to the window, where Earth hung in space like a blue jewel. "We've already begun training the first volunteers. Humans who want to undergo the trials and learn what we've learned." Kate felt a chill of excitement and fear. "How many?" 50,000 people have applied so far," Jake replied. "Scientists, soldiers, artists, teachers, engineers. People from every walk of life who want to help humanity guide the galaxy toward something better." Zethkal made a sound that Kate had learned was the Kethver equivalent of laughter. "The irony is not lost on me, Admiral. My people spent centuries conquering others, and now we beg to be students of the species we tried to enslave." "You're not our students," Jake corrected gently. "You're our partners. The architect's ultimate goal wasn't to create a master race. It was to create a community of transcended species working together." Lisa pulled up a holographic display showing a map of the galaxy. "We've identified 17 possible locations where other trials might exist. Each one is different, designed to test different aspects of what it means to be truly intelligent. Some trials focus on individual transcendence," Ryan explained. "Others require entire species to work together. A few seem designed for multiple species to attempt simultaneously." Maya's eyes lit up with excitement. "Imagine it. Different species, each bringing their own strengths and perspectives, learning from each other and growing together." Kate looked around the room at the impossible gathering of beings who had been enemies just months ago. What about the species that refuse to change? The ones who want to keep conquering and destroying. They'll find themselves increasingly isolated, Alex said sadly. The transcended species will protect those who can't protect themselves. The age of the strong preying on the weak is ending. Jake nodded. But we won't force anyone to change. That's not what the architects intended. Every species has the right to choose their own path. Dr. Foster raised his hand like a student in class. What about the architects themselves? Where are they now? Gone, Lisa said simply. They transcended physical existence millions of years ago, but they left the trials as a gift for those who would come after them. A gift and a test, Jake continued. They wanted to see if younger species could learn to use ultimate power responsibly. Kate walked to the window and stared out at the stars. So what happens now? Do we become some kind of galactic police force? Not police, Ryan said, joining her at the window. Guardians. We protect those who need protection and guide those who want to learn, but we don't rule anyone. Zethkal stood as well, his massive frame casting a shadow across the room. My people have already begun dismantling our war fleets. We're converting our ships into exploration and rescue vessels. The other Kethver species are doing the same. And it's not just the Kethver, Alex added. Word is spreading across the galaxy. Species that have been enemies for thousands of years are talking about peace. Pirates are surrendering and asking to join exploration crews. Even the slave markets in the Outer Rim are shutting down. Maya smiled. Fear is a powerful motivator, but hope is stronger. When people see that there's a better way to live, most of them want to try it. Dr. Foster looked up from his notes again. But what about the species that don't want to change? The ones who prefer conquest and domination? Jake's expression grew serious. They'll learn that their way of life is no longer sustainable. When every other species in the galaxy is working together, the warlike ones will find themselves with no one left to fight. Some will adapt, Lisa added. Others will retreat to distant corners of the galaxy and hopefully stay there. A few might even attempt the trials themselves, though they'll need to change their thinking completely before they can succeed. Kate turned back to the group. What about Earth's government? The colonies? How do we explain all this to people who still think humans are alone in the universe? Carefully, Jake replied with a slight smile. We've already begun briefing world leaders. Some are handling it better than others. The President of the Americas fainted, Alex said with a grin. The European Council demanded proof, so Maya demonstrated by making their entire building's computer system play music in perfect harmony for an hour. The Asian Federation's response was the best, Ryan added. Their representative just asked, "How can we help?" General Wagner leaned forward. What about our military? Earth's defenses? Still necessary, Jake said, but their role is changing. Instead of preparing for war, they'll be training for rescue missions, exploration, and peacekeeping. The skills are similar, but the mindset is completely different. Maya gestured to the window, where several human ships could be seen undergoing modifications. We're upgrading Earth's fleet with new technologies. Not weapons, but tools for building, and healing and exploring. The first joint expedition launches next week, Lisa announced. Human and Kethver crews working together to investigate one of the potential trial sites in the Vega system. Zethkal made that rumbling laugh sound again. 6 months ago, my people would have demanded to lead such an expedition. Now we are grateful to be included as partners. Kate felt a warmth spreading through her chest. You know what the strangest part of all this is? What? Jake asked. It feels right. Like this is what we were always supposed to become. Alex nodded. The architects told us that every species capable of reaching the stars has the potential for transcendence. The trials just help them realize that potential. And now we get to help others find their own paths to transcendence, Ryan added. Each species will be different, but the end goal is the same, learning to use power wisely. Dr. Foster finally closed his notebook. I've spent my whole career studying alien life, imagining what first contact might be like. I never dreamed it would be lick.